What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Salty Runback, here to be your weekly intake of North American Developmental League of Legends. As we get closer and closer to the start of the Tier 2 and 3 season, we keep getting some more news thrown around here and there. Bit of a bombshell on Wednesday, as we got a new roster to talk about here in the open qualifiers. Just a lot of players that we are hoping to see in the OQs as well. That's the main topic, the main idea of this episode. We'll get into the details in just a little bit. My name is Grapes, joined alongside Hawk. Hawk, how's it going?
Grapes, I'm doing fantastic. I had a wonderful day yesterday. And not only that, but as you said, some crazy news came out that we've sort of like joked about for the better part of 2 months now, and it actually happened. which is pretty cool. I don't know if we're just gonna like dive right in or what, but guys, Doublelift is back.
Yeah, I guess this is like our chance to do
officially Michael Jordan.
He better write that. He better tweet that like before they start doing stuff. That'd be good. That'd be good. But okay, I guess this is our time to do like kind of like a mini headline on it, I guess, before we get into our activity for the day. This is the benefit of getting to record multiple times a week, is that we can catch news like this on the back end of things. But before we do any of that, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to leave a like on Salty Runback. We're getting closer and closer to that 500 subscriber mark, which we're still a bit a ways from, but that would give us access to a lot of other things that would help us in terms of growing this brand and moving things forward. Also subscribe to our Patreon. We got a really big week of CeeLo games coming up this Saturday. We'll be able to cover all of that and talk about it on CeeLo Central. That comes out on Friday on our Patreon for just a $5 a month subscription. But let's get right into it. A couple months ago, we talked about what would a Los Ratones roster look like in North America, because that team is starting to make a lot of content. They've been doing well in the NLC early on this season, and it seems like we got our answer, as according to Sheep Esports, it was reported that Doublelift is forming a new team with some LCS superstars. The full roster is TF Blade, the only player on the team without any LCS experience, Spica in the jungle, Pobelter in the mid lane, Doublelift and Biofrost, the OG TSM duo who won, 3 or 4 LCS championships together down in the bottom lane. Hundreds of games of LCS experience, decades of years of Tier 1 experience, and they're going to be playing in this open qualifier and making some good content while they're at it.
Yeah, man. It's like some of like the Doublelift all-star teammates kind of coming back. Seems like you couldn't get a hold of Hanser because they had to pick up TF Blade for some reason, but everybody else, they got
Darshan.
What's up?
Or Darshan.
Or Darshan.
Spartan.
Grapes, why did neither of us think I'm going to spoil like half the episode. We're doing an activity where we're building a bunch of teams about like, you think you can beat Doublelift, and one of them was make a better content team. Why did neither of us think to make a content team of all other ex-Doublelift teammates? Like Darshan,
Darshan
Afro.
Smithy, who's not playing, he's still playing.
Wait,
and you do 6A Afromu or something, just run back to 2016. Okay.
Dude.
This will all make sense in a second. But.
Yeah. Okay, I just had that thought. Okay, sorry. So the team is really hype. Yeah, it's like Doublelift all-star former teammates from just like a total hodgepodge of rosters. I'm even trying to think, did Spica and Bio ever play together?
Yes, in 2020.
They did. Okay.
2020 summer they played together. Okay,
so they did play together, and then obviously Pobelter was a big part of the 2018-19 TL dynasty that Doublelift was a part of. And then you have random TF Blade, which if you go to the Reddit thread for this roster announcement, all of the comments are just like, why the fuck did they get TF Blade? It's so funny. Like, which I will say, most of those Reddit comments probably didn't know that TF Blade was already trying to play in OQs with Dante's, of all people.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like to us, it makes a little bit more sense. We've not really talked too much about that rumor, but yeah, that was a rumor that Dante's and TF Blade had a team with some guys.
And they were scrimming together too, so it was
right.
relatively public.
But like, still, all of the Reddit comments are about TF Blade, and I think that's really funny.
It is cool to see like the effects of Cadril and forming Los Ratones. It seems like that is purely the impetus for why this is existing, and also the fact that, you know, as we mentioned, full open qualifier, 64 teams, only over a couple of weeks. You can stream your POV. There's no ranked requirement as well, although these guys, none of them actually would need that. But this is going to be really fun to watch. And
They
and
didn't
I
pick
think,
up Ludwig.
yeah, well, they have still the opportunity for that.
You can have him as a sub. He could coach
yeah.
Spica.
Okay, so this is how you play a moo. Like you path around this way, yeah. I think the thing that people don't realize though is that Los Ratones is really like a media machine. They whip out content like nobody's business. Not only are all of the players and Cadriel posting on like their individual YouTube channels, there's also another like Los Ratones YouTube channel separately that compiles big highlights of all their scrim blocks and stuff. And those videos get like 300, 400,000 views. Like that is bigger than anything that's happening here in North American League of Legends. And so if we can get even a fraction of that here with Doublelift and other big content creators, I would say Doublelift and Pobelter are two of the bigger, league streamers around the space right now. This could be something.
Big. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, man. Like I think another important part of the Los Ratones puzzle too that we have seen not work out so well for a team like Ruddy Corp, which has been trying to do something similar, is Los Ratones is running the NLC, and they are like an EMEA Masters contender is the expectation. That has not worked out, like I said, for other teams, and I'm curious to see where the Doublelift team lands, because I think they definitely should promote into the NACL. I don't really know how good they'll be in the NACL. I'll be the first one to say it. I think it really depends on how washed Pobelter is, because expectation is that Bio is pretty washed, and then Spica and Doublelift they're going to be pretty good. And then obviously we have no idea what to expect from TF Blade. So I'm really curious to actually see how good this team really is.
Yeah, I'm personally pretty excited to see TF Blade play. I know he hasn't played competitive in like a really long time. He was on some of those old like Tyler 1 invitational teams.
Right.
Where
and
he did actually
like,
play
is objectively
well.
a good player. You know what I mean? In solo queue.
He's really high ranked in solo queue. Other players that have made that jump specifically from top lane. You think of somebody like a Yusin who had no competitive experience, just was really high elo top lane in solo queue and like ran the OQs. I think that the thing that's gonna make or break this team is actually really how hard they care, how much they care, and how hard they try.
That too, yeah.
The last time we saw,
is really that's part of I think what makes their content good too. By the way, sorry to cut you off, but not only are they good, but they are like playing like a pro team. You know what I mean? And they're scrimming like a pro team.
The big last time that we saw a team like this in North America was back in 2017 when Delta Fox was made with Dyrus, Shifter, I'm a Cutie Pie, Voy Boy, and Skara. But those guys did not really try at all. They were really there to for fun it. They didn't scrim at all. They only played official matches together, and they got destroyed in the Tier 2 system, even though they were players that were very good in the LCS maybe 3 or 4 years before they started to play in this league. And makes me feel a little bit old, but at this point, season 10 and 11 is about just as far from it we are now in season 15 than season 3 and 4 were from season 7 at the time. So I feel like the timeline is relatively similar for this group coming together, and the big difference is going to be if they're really going to be playing a lot of scrims and things like that, or if they're really just here to have fun. If they are just not going to be practicing at all, I guess I could see a world where they just like stumble out because of the fact that it's very volatile. It's double eliminations. So if you just RNG 2 bad series, you're out. But if they're trying, they're going to be towards the top.
Two things to add. One, I first of all, like I just agree with you. I do think like Los Ratones, part of what makes them so appealing is I think that fans feel like they get to be a part of a pro team. And I think that is a huge allure for a lot of people, especially fans of Cadriel, who's very well known for like having high level analysis and stuff like that, right? So that's a major factor. And then you've also got for this Doublelift team, I think they need to care like that. They have already announced that they do have a scrim today, when the episode comes out, today at noon Pacific, so 3 hours after the episode releases, a scrim against Ole Miss University.
Okay.
So, and we might stream that. So if you're watching this video,
TBD on that. We'll
if you're watching this video, by the time this releases, we'll probably have already decided if we're doing a stream of that, but you'll check our socials at Salty Runback NA. So At the very least, it seems like they are going to try a little. I'm sure they don't want to flame out in OQs. I would imagine that's not the goal. How good are they in NACL though? We'll see.
Yeah, they've already played more scrim blocks than Delta Fox by the time this comes out, I assume, because they really didn't do it before. Okay, last thing before we move into our activity. Do you have a name for this team?
No, not at
What,
all.
what should they name themselves?
Team
This
Solid because they half of them played for Team Liquid. I don't know. Something I actually have no idea. Because also
Team
Los
Solid,
Ratones
dude.
seemed like it kind of came out of nowhere too.
Yeah, it was like the rat meme with Kadrill and things like that. I
Right.
don't know. I don't watch these guys
I don't
as
have
much
like
in
the
terms of
stream memes
streamers.
for the yeah.
This could just be like Doublelift's retirement home. That would be a
It
good
could
name.
be Doublelift's retirement home.
The thing is, they will have to get picked up by a company or an organization. I imagine Doublelift, and I imagine these guys have enough money where they could probably form an LLC on their own and like kind of do it that way if they wanted to. But I'm curious to see, like, is like a pro org gonna try to pick these guys up if they qualify in?
I will say the one idiosyncrasy, if you will, that we have that EMEA Masters doesn't is this sort of pipeline. Whereas EMEA Masters, you're just sort of trying to qualify for a tournament, win it, and then like you could blow up after the split and no one cares. You know what I mean? What happens if this Doublelift team qualifies for the NACL? Like,
Yeah,
do
are
they
gonna
fully
play?
understand the gravity of like what it means to qualify for the NACL and play in the NACL? Like that's a legitimate concern that I have, and I'm not saying they haven't thought about that and that they don't care, but there's a possibility, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I hope because what would be really detrimental for the space is if they come in, they play for 3 weeks, it's like super hype, oh my god, content, and it's like, all right, peace, and then they just delegitimize the actual OQ space, and that would be a huge bummer to me. I would love to see them while they're here, not just like shit on noobs and then leave, but like actually be invested in like North American League of Legends and like, oh, we want to play like to make the region better, like some shit like that. Like, I would love to. I want this to have a positive impact on everybody around them and not just be about like content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not just that. I mean, I think in terms of the pipeline, there's further to go after you qualify into the NACL. There's literally a spot in the LTA that you could try to take away. And I don't know about the rest of the players, but I know somebody like Spica is probably a player who really would want to get back in to the league. This would be a pretty good way to do it, and it's just more content. You know, imagine Doublelift and his friends
Right.
go and promote into the LCS.
Oh, it'd be
again. I mean, that
awesome. It'd be
I hope
insane.
that
Yeah.
I hope they hard commit to the bit, basically.
Exactly. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our thoughts and our full take about this situation, and it's now time to play a little game in our midweek episode. And we, as we alluded to earlier, are going to try and figure out where can an OQ roster be better than this Doublelift team. So we have a bunch of different categories that we came up with to try to build rosters of current free agents, I should say, that are not currently signed to any NACL or OQ team that could be better in certain regards. Stay tuned to the end where we each try to build a roster of 5 that actually would be better than this Doublelift team. I don't know how well we succeeded at that, but that will be our goal at the end. But there's other aspects as well that this group of teams, this group of players, we're going to try to beat them here.
Yeah, man. Dude, this is going to be really fun. Again, as far as free agents are concerned here on Salty Runback, we're including everybody that is not like officially announced as part of a roster. So any rumors and shit like that, we don't care. We're just taking out everybody. Because also kind of the point of this is just to form some fun teams. Really only like the skill team is the one that we're really like worried about how good they are. But let's just get started because there's a lot of ways you can beat Doublelift's team. Yes, they are expected to be a very good team in the open qualifier grapes, but they're also expected to be the oldest. Average age 27, youngest player, Spica. So we put together a team of players under the age of 23, asterisk. They just need to be younger than Spica. Because I've picked up Porsche, Will, Blowcon, Nightstar, and Skytech. Now, asterisk here because Nightstar and Skytech, both my age, 2001 babies as well, 23 years old, but much like myself, younger than Spica, whose birthday is actually coming up in less than a week. So happy early birthday, Spica.
Yeah, Spica will be 24 by the time the OQ starts. So if there's any 23-year-olds that we list on here, those are the guys that will still be 23, I think, when the OQ starts. And
Yeah.
You got a pretty good list here. I mean, you did, I think, go on the older side of this.
I think my
but
youngest player is Flocon, who's like 18.
yeah, that's a good shout out too. Flocon's been playing pretty well over the last couple of years. I feel like he hasn't gotten his like full opportunity to be like a top tier mid on a top team. This would be a roster though that if I saw in the OQs, I'd say, hey, they could definitely qualify into the NACL if all things go right for them.
You know, and at the end of the day, to kind of explain more of the rules of the game now that we've gotten the first roster out, like we are ultimately still trying to build teams of players that we do think are good or at least want to highlight in an interesting way. And importantly as well, each Grapes and I across the 5 rosters that we've built can only pick a player once. Now, we can each pick the same player, but not for the same category. So Grapes' age team cannot have Porsche, Will, Flocon, Nightstar, SkyTech, but he could use these 5 players for one of the other 4 rosters that he builds. And then I can't use the rest of these players the rest of the time. So, yeah. No, I think this team fucks, though. Like, I mean, if I saw this team on an OQ sheet, I would expect them to be in the promotion mix for, like, most years of OQs that we've had.
Yeah, I would agree so. I think my team, though, also has what it takes, as we'll take a look at my roster here as well. Went a little bit younger, I think, in general, although we do have a couple of older heads towards the middle. Crimson, Munchie, Bradley, who also is 23, little asterisk there, Rockboom, and then Abi. So we got some UTM representation here. University of Toronto, Mississauga, been doing very well in the collegiate landscape, just 2-0'd University of Toronto, and they'll be playing against St. Clair next week, or this weekend. And these are 2 of the lead faces behind it, and then it's surrounded by 3 other players who have been pretty solid in the NACL last year.
Yeah, great. I think it's a pretty good team too. I mean, Crimson, Bradley, and Rockboom, I think, are all 3 players that like we can very definitively say are NACL caliber. And then I mean Munchie and AB. Munchie in particular, I feel like someone that we've looked at as sort of maybe on the next rank up, but hasn't actually really played for high profile teams in the last year or so.
Munchie and Crimson are going to have to play rock, paper, scissors every game to see who's on tank duty, because I'm not letting them play Riven Master Yi in any of these OQ games. Unless they're against,
have you
like,
seen
the
that Master
team.
Yi's like the highest win rate jungler in like Masters Plus right now?
Is it because of this guy, Munchie?
I don't know. But like Master Yi is apparently really good right now. So who knows, man? Maybe you do want them to play Riven Master Yi. I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, if the rest of the composition, lines up, maybe I'll give him that opportunity.
Dude, just have Bradley play like Ornn mid. He played top for a while.
Yeah, we're gonna do that to we're gonna do that to Bradley so Munchie can play Master Yi.
Well, that's disrespectful to Munchie. You saying he can't carry?
I'm saying
the hell,
that,
man.
I'm saying that they're gonna play rock, paper, scissors. One of them will get the carry, the other one will get the tank. That's how we'll draft our draft strategy here.
All I'm saying is Crimson Riven against TF Blade would feed families.
Oh yeah, like Riven Aurelia or TF Blade Aurelia or something.
Dude, like TF
that.
Blade is not ready for some fucking Zoomer to walk up and like pone him with Riven. Like that would be
interesting. Because back in the day, that was him. He was the Zoomer like melee like bruiser player. I mean, he's still
how old is TF Blade?
He's 25. We checked the
25.
math
Oh,
to see who
okay.
the younger
So
player
he's
was.
technically a Zoomer as well, but like.
But when he started playing in like 2017, 2018, making a bit of a name for himself, he was 18. He was a younger guy.
Yeah.
But I think Crimson is kind of that new wave. I think that this team. I mean, again, we're talking like very hypothetical rosters here, but if we wanted like a full Zoomer team, these guys are younger than that Pulse roster that we talked about, and I think they'd be pretty good.
And I see you're cashing in on Nightmare disbanding as well. I will say, as people will see later, that was quite an asset to us in this exercise.
Yeah, we used some Nightmare players. Spoiler alert.
Nightmare disbanding made things a little bit easier. Let us know in the comments which of each of the teams you like better for each of the categories, mine or Grapes, and tell me why it's mine for all 5. Although I will say, Grapes, I do think your under 23 team might be better than mine.
I think I got you here. I could have picked
okay.
I just realized I could have picked Meech. I could have picked Meech here for bot lane because I didn't have him in any of my other categories as well.
But this is the only place we got Rocco though, so we should give a shout to Rocco. Yeah, Rocco's got some sauce, you know.
No, he's got the sauce. I mean, I picked him because I think he's like a really good younger player. But you're talking about Nightmare rosters.
Are we sure you have? And you might have me beat.
I don't know, man. We'll let the
I mean,
audience
okay.
decide. How about that?
Okay,
My
yeah,
carries
we'll
are
let
better
the,
than
we'll let the
yours, for
audience
sure.
decide. Porsche, Will, Floca, Nightstar, Skytech, or Crimson, Munchie, Bradley, Rockboom, AV. Grapes,
Yeah.
let's keep it moving, though.
Okay. The other thing that these guys are really good at here, Hawk, they're really high elo. I know people are memeing like, oh, these guys are washed. They're not gonna be able to be high seeded or anything like that. The average elo for this team was over 1100, and a lot of that was helped by TF Blade and Spica, who are both top 10 on the ladder right now.
They're
But
both
four
top
of the
five. They're
players,
number 4 and 5 on the
4 and
ladder, I
5,
believe.
4 and
Or
5.
5 and 6, something like that.
Doublelift and Pobelter also challenger. Biofrost just missing the cut at like high GM basically. And so we got to find a team on the solo queue ladder right now that actually has a higher combined LP than this other squad, than this Doublelift squad. So I guess Hawk, fire away.
Was surprisingly hard. I need you all to understand. Jungle, there was a really good pick of the litter. Like Yukino, Armeo, Will, all very high ranked. Top wasn't too bad, and support wasn't too bad. There, mid and 80 carry were a barren wasteland. Guys, there's only like 3 80 carry mains in the top 100 of the solo queue ladder, which
yeah, maybe they're complaining is for a reason.
Maybe valid. Yeah, I will say Shogo's invalid. That guy's like 30 on the ladder, but
He's that good.
Yeah, you have not very many 80 carry players to pick from. To kind of give some more sauce as well. Shout out Biofrost for making this possible, like at all, because he's only like 600 LP.
that's rude.
That's true. He's outside the top 200 of the solo queue ladder, and with how high elo Spica and TF Blade were, this would not have been possible, because to get a player that is like at least like at or above the average elo, it's only like top 40 on the solo queue ladder. Obviously, we're able to dip below that because of guys like Yukino that are 1508 and rank 8 in the solo queue ladder right now. But anyway, I picked up Philip and Yukino. Very obvious NACL caliber players. They've had successful careers before. I also took Hiccup, big standout from tier 3 in the summer with the Ducky Getters. She was phenomenal on the Enchanters for that team, and I was actually kind of surprised to see that she is ranked 37 on the solo queue ladder right now at 1136. So
let's go.
Has been fucking tearing it up in solo queue. And then going a little bit further down, I've got Cinna and Hub stepping in for mid and 80 carry. Experienced tier 3 players that maybe admittedly have not seen the same success as the others here. But, I mean, have definitely proven their worth.
Yeah, Hub, an OQ 80 carry that was on the name list. That was a team with Sama and Utter, who ended up making it into the top 16 rather, potentially surprisingly, where they did not make it into quarterfinals, but I think a lot of newer players that we were excited to see qualify in. And I personally have been hearing a lot of good things about this guy. I remember watching his tape in the OQs as well. I
think Hub is pretty
impressed
good, yeah.
as well. So it seems like his spot on the solo queue ladder is worth it and is justified.
And Cinna was elo held on UCI 2024 spring, so that's all I'm gonna say.
Debate, yeah, you could debate who was in hell with who, I guess, with that roster. It seemed like it swapped around.
I think they were all in hell. I'm going to be honest with you. But there was like one series that I vividly remember where Cinna's entire team is fucking getting ran. And he's just like, I think this was against Lotus. And he's like chilling against Aljun in mid lane, bro. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Free my boy. He's ranked 72 on the ladder, 900 LP. So nice congrats to him. My roster, so solid roster overall. My team, I went a little bit higher and lower here. I picked 2 players in the top 6. I picked Will, who, as you mentioned, was a very high elo jungler right now. Is currently playing for Northwood University, but not a part of any other OQ team or NACL team at the moment. And then I saw Cupic on the ladder, and I also saw Hawk that you mentioned. Not a lot of great 80 carries here. So I'm deciding to bring back an old classic, the cold-hearted combo from 2023. Yozu and Cupic down in the bottom lane. I know it didn't work for Cupic very much in the NACL last season, but we're gonna give him another try this time with his duo partner at the support position. They're gonna play mages. Now that I'm looking at it, Ariandel also a big mage player, so that could be a bit of an issue in terms
full
of
magic damage comp. Akali top for Cozy Shroud.
Yeah, that's true. Then we got Cozy and Ariandel as well to kind of round out our team. But man, this was a very interesting observation, is because we always like talk about these players in the context of their competitive experience and things like that. But actually looking at the solo queue ladder and seeing like where people are ranked, gives you a bit of a different perspective on things.
It really does. I will say Will and Cupid are doing quite a bit of heavy lifting on this team.
They are, yes. I had to fill out the roster, like try to adjust the budget
Also,
a little bit.
why is Cozy so out of focus?
It's because it's a picture I grabbed from our. It's a long story. I grabbed it from our Roster Mania spreadsheet.
No, I know.
Which
It's just
I
he's
grabbed
just
from
so out of
another
focus.
random picture.
It's so.
He was really, really tiny, and so I had to like zoom him out. So
I'm gonna be honest. I think which of our teams you think is better entirely depends on how good you think Yozu and Cupid are, because
they
Graves, your
smashed at
top
solo
side
queue.
is fantastic. You've got Cozy, Will, Ariandel. Like that is a good team.
I just realized I picked. Didn't they all play like? No, Cozy wasn't on Pulse, but like Will and Ariandel that were there last split. I'm trying to think, have all these guys like played on a team?
Yeah,
together?
Cozy
I
was
don't
on
think
AoE,
so.
but I don't think. I mean, Cozy and Will are also together on Northwood now. I don't think they've all played together, but I mean, yeah, this is objectively a great.
They were
top
all
side.
on AoE. They were all on AoE esports in ACL. That's what.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, so you've just picked up like a trio. Like this is objectively a great top set. I think Philip and Yukino may be stronger than the three of them.
Yeah,
and then like
those are the
with
two
Hiccup
best
though,
players.
yeah, like Hiccup also pretty good, but Sinan Hub, Yozu Cupid, like it's getting a little questionable. So I'm actually really curious to see what the people say is better for our ELO team, but some good shooters nonetheless, and definitely fun to look at the solo queue ladder.
My take
for
is
this.
that if these two teams played not in competitive but in solo queue, who would win? I think my team might have the edge there because of
I don't know,
the
not
bottom.
Yozu and Biofrost.
No. I mean,
So-
yeah. We're talking about how these players are so horrible.
So, yeah, all the way down to
Challenger
600 LP.
661 LP. Get out
Yeah.
of here.
I will say Yozu and Biofrost are within like 5 spots of each other on the ladder to put that out. So that is
balanced.
that is where they're at. But yeah,
All right. Well, let us know in the comments who we think has this one.
this was a fun one. This was a fun
Yeah.
one. I respect you bringing back Yozu Cupid at the very least. It's saucy, you know.
The biggest thing is that it goes to show that, like these players on the Doublelift team, I just really wish we had a name for them. The retirement home, they have like not only players with competitive experience, but players who still are able to,
Yeah.
you know,
They can
grind the
hack it
ladder.
with the kids.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let's keep it moving, Grapes. So this one's a little weird. We have the skill team, the team that we think could actually like beat Doublelift's team in like maybe 50% of games, right? But we also wanted to pick a Cinderella upset team, a bona fide tier 3 team of just like some of the craziest shooters we got in the scene that could take like a random game in a best of 3 and make everyone go fucking crazy. And I'm sure to the surprise of no one, I've basically assembled the Ducky Getters, but like the super cracked Ducky Getters. So I've already taken a Hiccup. So I had to pick up my boy Daption, who is so much of a psycho, he absolutely can make it happen. And then I mean no disrespect to Rough Beans. I just don't actually know how serious of a competitive player he was. I know when he was on the Ducky Getters, he basically was like, yeah, my friends like asked me to play. So I went for the Prince of Promotion Sudsy, who also has a knack for miracle runs and magic in the craziest places. And then, of course, I've got Decalc, Bio, and Thralled, players that we have seen unfathomable levels of clutch from over the course of their careers. And, of course, we're a part of that Ducky Getters team. I think they absolutely could just, like, go completely, like, ham and take a game off a Doublelift.
This is the Ducky Getters plus Dragoons Goons team. And
Literally, yeah.
So the problem is you got the Ducky Getters, who are like the upset team, synonymous with upset. And then you got Sudsy,
And then you have the
Sudsy and
disappointment.
Daption, the choking team. Yeah, you got the chokers on the other side with Sudsy and Daption. So that might bring them down a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Disrespectful to Daption and Sudsy to call them chokers, man. Those guys have been in the trenches for years, and
I'm just saying they had the
put them at their worst moment.
They had the team.
All I'm saying is this team is fire.
This is fire, and I could see a world.
Look, enthralled fucking locks in like the most unhinged AD carry ever. Him and Daption. either 0-10 or 10-0 by 10 minutes. Like that's how that bottom lane works. You got Bio playing Rengar against Spica, bro. He farms Doublelift. That's all I'm saying, man. Nobody's ready for the Rengar Ivern. Sudsy would play Ivern. That guy plays anything. Rengar Ivern with Sudsy. The Doublelift team ain't ready. They ain't ready.
Like
they're too used to regular, basic ass LCS drafts. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they're against Rengar Ivern. That's my pitch.
True.
That's
the last time Doublelift played against a Rengar was probably like the Phoenix One days in 2017 with a Nori, and that didn't go too well for him. So, I'm sure he really remembers that 8 years ago. Surely. This team is fun. I mean, there's a lot of players that like we really enjoyed watching last summer, and so I hope it is sad to see them all kind of listed as free agents, at least for the moment. Hopefully, we get to see them all participate. I know that Dapshin was on that Dante's team, but he'll get his revenge against TF Blade if he gets put on this team.
I also have been saying if the Dante's team picks up a real top laner, I think they're actually like really good. So maybe watch out for Dapshin upsetting Doublelift anyway, but we'll see if that happens.
All right, well, let's see who I've got for my Cinderella team. I think I took a bit of a different approach, I will say. The first thing that I think we both did similar is we picked 80 carries who we think are very synonymous with clutch. For you, it was Enthralled. I definitely agree. I went with Devin, who currently is on Converse University.
Good pick.
This guy 1v9s games like it's nothing. I feel like whether his team is like the GOATs or he's maybe on a less good team, Devin is always like
that guy is never quit.
1v9.
He's never FF the game in his
Gentle
life.
Hearts, Converse University, bro is always like has a crazy KDA, tons of DPS. He'll play things like Jinx and Xayah like super well. So he's my 80 carry. I think that even if this team finds himself down like 10,000 gold, he could still find a way potentially. And then the rest of my roster, I went for some of the most historic upsets in in our recent League of Legends history. I'm starting off here with a recent one, St. Louis University. These guys, of course, went all the way and upset Maryville. Went through that lower bracket run. We were there for it, Hawk and Boise. And so I picked the two players who I feel like are kind of synonymous with that team, that being Winnie and Skytech in the jungle support. Darkwing's Aaron
and the two players on the team that are still free agents, right?
Are all on other teams, so we could pick those guys. And then for my solo laners, we're going to take a bit of a trip down memory lane to 2021 summer, where the Mercenaries were a team that was playing in an OQ very similar to this one. I think it might have been EGL Summer Showdown at that point, or maybe one of the Risen OQs. But they played against Golden Guardians Academy, who was back in the day. Academy teams were allowed to participate in the OQ events kind of as practice because they took place on different days as Academy. So Golden Guardians ended up doing that, and Mercenaries, I think either they took a game off of them and made it a very competitive series. And two of the players on that team.
This was Cup, right? I thought this was Cup.
Maybe it was Cup. Yeah.
Yeah.
The three OQs that year were Cup, Risen, and EGL. But Barrick and Cinna were two players on that team. Also, shout out to Cerulean, who was on that team as well. I believe all three of them went to the same high school in California somewhere. And now they're all. Some of them went over to UCI. And in 2022 Spring Split, UCI played against Golden Guardians Academy, and guess what? They won. They won a game. They didn't win the series, but they took a game. So those are synonymous with upsets for me. And those two players in the solo lanes, Barrick and Cinna, I feel like both made a name for themselves by being on those teams. And I also think that they're both pretty good players as well.
Yeah, no, I'm subscribing to it. I mean, especially, I know Winnie has like the slew upset under his belt, but him and Skytech I also just feel like are the kind of players they play in such a way that like, dude, I don't think Faker is safe from the Winnie Skytech duo. You know what I mean? Like
they'll win any game, no matter what.
They don't give a fuck, bro. and I think like they're the kind of dudes that play with nameplates off. So I subscribe quite a bit to this team. Devin, I mean, we've talked about how much we like him. Shout out Cinna for getting on each of our lists. Probably not someone we would have expected. I don't actually know if he's even rumored to a team, but I still think Cinna's a pretty good player.
UCI always puts together a roster, but I think they've been playing with Zhao Danny for the most part in the mid lane this year. So
who's also a great player. So
yeah. That's why we picked him and not Danny, I guess, because they could technically still be rumored to rosters. I'm just looking back. It was Cup that they lost to Golden Guardians Academy, but they also played in the Risen tournament where they also failed to qualify. But the other two players on the team, it was Barrick Rourke in the jungle, who we actually played against like in
Oh
Caster
God,
Clash.
that was so miserable.
Um,
Don't.
What?
You didn't have to play against him in the jungle, motherfucker. Get the hell out of here.
Played against him somewhere, I think.
You played against him not when he was jungling.
Then it was Cinnabon Sahori, who was an AD carry for UCI for a little bit, and then Cerulean. So that was a pretty fun starting five. I remember
Dude,
that. Dude,
that's a crazy team. I forgot that team existed, man. That was also like 21. I was still a little like not.
Yeah, you were very
aware.
green at that point. I was too, but like I at least watched the spring split. You I think got into it this summer. So,
I got into it in the summer. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So let
Except
us know.
for peak.
Do you value recency bias of just fun vibes teams, or do you value the history of some upsets in terms of
I know
who can
Cam's
take
on my
down-
side.
Oh yeah, they are. They definitely are. Devin versus Doublelift. I mean, I'm sure it's happened in solo queue, but I would pay money to see that in a competitive game.
Dude, both of them have like all the gold and kills on their team, and just like washed Doublelift versus Prime Devin who wins.
So we got 2 rosters left to reveal. Now, while this team I think is projected to be very good, remember we'll have our highest skill team of free agents at the end of things. The other thing that this team is going to provide 100% is content. Doublelift, one of the biggest streamers in North America, Spica, and Pobelter also streaming a lot on their own as well. I'm sure TF Blade, of course, also in his own kind of realm, maybe a different sphere than like the esports sphere, but also gets a lot of League of Legends viewers. This team is going to rack up the viewership. They're going to produce a lot of content. They're going to be streaming their scrims. And so we are going to try to figure out what kind of team could out-content this Doublelift team. And you got a pretty spicy idea.
Oh yeah.
Let's reveal to the audience what you got.
I am very excited to unveil the content team that nobody saw coming. 2013 Cloud9, but Balls is off the team and we're going with Ray instead.
This is so disrespectful to my man, Balls.
Look,
man.
All right, hear me out. 2013 Cloud9, everyone loves them. Meteos, High, Sneaky, Lemon, the boys, right? Like, I mean, Sneaky, I think, is still making League content very successfully, if I'm not mistaken. And other content. That sounded suspect for some reason.
You can look up. You can go to the Twitter and you can see for yourself. That's all.
Yeah, no. It's no, dude. Sneaky's still killing it in the content game. I know everyone still loves all the 2013 C9 guys, but I felt like it was too basic to just go for just 2013 C9, right? The OGs, and I'm sure that the most washed player here is a tie between Balls and Lemon Nation. But Balls was washed even when he was still playing on Cloud9. Like, he was Diamond 2 at Worlds 2015, and they got a Penta. Like, but Darius was broken, okay? So I thought, like, okay, I don't want to be too basic. I have to kick somebody. I just decided on Balls. Who could Cloud9 get that would, like, have everyone going crazy, right? My first thought was Rush, but I don't think you can kick Meteos from the team. So Rush is out for
Rush
that reason. Rush top lane would be diabolical. So my second thought was like, okay, who is a Cloud9 player that's not on a team? Because like guys like Blabber, Contracts, they're all on teams, right? Jensen, Ray is retired now. Everyone was sad when he went to Korea for military service. Was playing on like some like real mid EMEA Masters teams in like the 2020s. But this man had the gumption to lock in Khaled against TSM in the 2017 Spring Finals in Game 5. Who else could it be except for C9 Ray? So let's see Cloud9 2013, but with Ray in the top lane. I think this would bring in more viewers than the Doublelift team.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Balls would add to the content just because even if he's like
but
super
it's
washed.
so basic. It's so basic just to bring
it's true.
2013 C9, bro. Like,
Do you?
like that's like the serious pick, but like I wanted to make it spicy in some way.
That's fair.
So.
Do you remember this team played like a show match like a couple years ago, right? Like Balls. I remember like Balls came back to play. I forget what it was exactly.
Didn't they play in the summer like Disguised
either
Toast
like
Invitational? It was like Lemon and Balls were like they could get drafted.
It was either some like streamer tournament that happened like a couple years ago, or it was like maybe like a COVID fundraiser that the LCS did.
I swear they were in the pool of players that could get drafted for the Toast thing. No.
They might have been. That's a good shout. I don't remember exactly. If you remember, let us know in the comments below. But this team like whipped it out recently, and I will say like Balls, he was actually pretty good. He played his Rumble. He apparently like still is like kind of, he was high diamond like at the time. I remember like everyone was surprised like, wow, Balls actually is still like
he might be less washed than Lemon now that I think about it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, who knows if Lemon even like plays the game? I haven't heard it from that guy.
Dude, like it wouldn't surprise me if Lemon just like has a family now or some shit. Like you know what I mean? Like
yeah. No, but it would be fun to see the TSM veterans versus the Cloud9 veterans, even though like they didn't interact like within that time span. Like Pobelter and Doublelift probably played against these guys, but like not on the same team.
I think the important pieces for this team are Meteos, High, and Sneaky, right? Like they're the real big, and they've been active in the league sphere, the pro esports league sphere, even after their retirements as well. Like the Meteos Sneaky co-streams. You've had High on the analyst desk more than a few times.
And he's a manager for C9 as well right now. So.
Oh, is he? I don't even think I realized that. Yeah.
He's on stage sometimes during LTA, so you might have to pull him away from that. I don't know what the contract situations look like there.
Oh, come on, they can afford it, you know.
Yeah, you could buy him out a little bit or something.
Yeah.
This would be fun. You'd have to, Doublelift and Pobelter would have to go back to their 2015 CLG days when they played against basically this roster to try and make something happen. So.
Dude, you have Lemon with a notebook for Fearless Draft.
Dude,
Lemon could innovate Fearless Draft, bro.
It's gotta be a way bigger notebook.
Yeah. He's got a foldy sheet now. Maybe we can graduate to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man,
that's very solid. I think though I might have you beat in the content game as we'll go over here. The big thing we're gonna do.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
We're gonna reunite two rivals turned teammates turned friends here. The reason that cast your minds back to like 2023 when it was actually the Doublelift versus Tyler 1 Ninja versus Mr. Beast show match that happened, and Tyler 1 and Ludwig were on the same team. Ludwig inted his ass off, obviously. Tyler 1 flamed him. Eventually that led to the entire league arc here. I think that if these guys came back together, I know, again, we're talking about conflict of interest. Ludwig with Moist or Shopify, we probably have to work something out there. But
no, this team doesn't qualify for NACL, so they're fine, bro. Like
no, but they'd make it into the OQs. There's no ranked requirement, and everybody else.
Yeah, but you can play in the OQs. You just can't play in the NACL with a conflict of interest.
I don't know. I did say I will say I supplemented this roster pretty nicely with some high quality talent. I don't know how much Afro is playing these days, but this guy used to be. Great. This guy's still a big streamer. Lorlo is killing it in the content game now, playing like Janna top lane. He's playing like AP Jarvan.
You know how I talked
lane.
about the Reddit comments earlier? A lot of people were like, "Why didn't they get Lorlo if they wanted a streamer for the Doublelift team?"
Great streamer, also former pro player. Then I grabbed Nisqy. I was actually scrolling through most followed League of Legends Twitch streamers, and Nisqy showed up. He's got like 400K. He's hanging around right now.
Nisqy is like, what the fuck is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas, bro?
No, but he's such a funny guy too, though. Like he would make
but like, why is he playing in NAOQs, man? This is crazy.
Bro, for the content.
Yeah,
they fly him out.
He could do a travel vlog.
I can just imagine the scrims. Tyler 1 just screaming his fucking head off at Ludwig the entire time, and then they're screaming at each other, and you see Lorlo and Afro just like laughing their asses off on their POVs. Like this would kill. And also in terms of average viewership, I think I have you beat in terms of like current Twitch viewership.
I will say, Afro. Oh yeah, you absolutely have me beat in terms of current Twitch viewership. That's not what I'm going for. I'm going for the vibes.
Yeah.
I will say, storyline wise, Aframu coming back to play in OQs against Doublelift after their very messy
Yes,
CLG
I forgot about
breakup,
that. Yes.
That would be insane. Like, there's some crazy storylines right there. Because when I was editing for Garage, doing the Aframu video,
I remember watching that. Yeah.
I had to put together a little compilation of Aframu saying, and apparently we weren't friends. So you could definitely
I think
pull
they've
some
squashed
sauce
since
there.
then, but
I think they have, but you could bring it back,
I think okay. Like, I think we were very close. I think you probably got me beat on some of the other ones.
My team is definitely better. I can tell you that.
I think I've got you in the content game here, too. I mean...
I don't don't know. I don't know. I mean, dude, everyone loves these guys, man. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but are they gonna draw the eyeballs like Tyler One is going to though? That's the thing. I don't know. In terms of Twitch
Sneaky and Meteos are pretty big. I mean, Tyler One is bigger, but
let us know in the comments.
All
right,
let us know.
It's time for our final.
This team, wait, hang on. This team won't draw eyeballs because they're out after the first weekend because they have Lud playing jungle. So that's
they're gonna be seeded against like some like low diamond team. I'm sure you stick Ludwig on like a Mumu or something.
What do you mean they're gonna be seeded against challenger teams because their average elo is low diamond, bro?
No, but the rest of the guys boosted up. Plaid and one
crazy
one Plat 4 player.
This is crazy cope.
Four challenger players against like 4 diamond, 5
and then just
players.
A Plat player. Ludwig is Plat 4.
Oh man, this is funny. How far do they get? Did they get into week 2? I think they get to week 2.
I think they get to week 2. I don't think they get further than that.
Yeah. Okay.
Depends on how washed the Afro is, maybe, but
yeah, that is true. I don't know if he really plays much anymore. So it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for, though. This is the
serious one.
Yeah, the squad that we think could actually beat this Doublelift squad of current free agents in the market here in both the NACL and the Open qualifiers. Players that, who knows, they are within their own right completely to form this team. We are armchair GMing for them. If they win and qualify to the NACL, we want a cut of the winnings. We want a cut of the prize pool.
Yeah.
These guys could play and maybe try to take them down.
And remember, I said it at the top of the episode. Really, you just need guys that can go against Spica and Doublelift and maybe Pobe. Because Bio, he's still good. He's still really good. He's a little bit weaker than he was. TF Blade, we'll see, right?
He could be the next Yusin. This is possible. You know?
Well, maybe Yusin will be the next Yusin because I have put together the greatest roster in Tier 3 history. It's 3/5 of Nightmare. Like I said, it was very useful to me that this team is no longer existing. With Kenvi, Meech, and Breezy, best in role available everywhere. But then Yusin versus TF Blade, the ultimate streamer that everyone hates and wants to prey on his downfall, versus some Chinese guy that's insane at the fucking game, bro. Yusin in the top lane, and then you've also got Young in mid, because if I just took Bradley, it'd be really boring. Also, Young might be better than Bradley, like maybe to start some spice. I think Young is.
They both had tough splits.
They had tough splits, but Young has had I want to say higher highs in the mid lane than Bradley has had. Well, both of them won NACL championships, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just
although
at
Bradley
different
was
times.
not playing. Bradley was not playing mid.
Right, and Bradley was playing top. So Young has had the higher high as a mid laner. And also, dude, I just think like this top side is so electric, man. You have Yusin, Kenvi, Young. Like, give me Fiora, Kha'Zix, and Irelia on my top side of the map right now.
And then what? You put Meech on like Seraphine duty or what?
Yeah, he's got it. They played him and Ayla played Seraphine Senna quite a bit in the LCS actually. Like that
is true.
That works. Yeah, that's a fire composition, bro. Let Yusin hands check the shit out of TF Blade. Kenvi is probably better than Spica at this point, and then you have Young against Pobelter. Like, oh man, and Pobe only plays mages for the most part too, so Young can play his aggro picks into this guy and actually like have some headway, because Pobe does not really like that much interaction from what I remember about his gameplay. So, I think this top side runs.
Kenvi better than Spica is a hot take. I don't know if
I'm aware that that's a hot take, but Kenvi has been one of the best junglers in Tier 2 for like 3 years now. So I don't think that's that hot, you know?
That's fair. I think
what
that
I got, bro.
taking 3/5 of Nightmare helps. Yusin versus TF Blade, I would pay to just see them like 1v1 for an hour, honestly. Like that would be really fun to watch. You got a pretty easy job here by picking the 3/5 of the team that already existed. Which,
but don't disrespect Yusin and Young. They elevate this team.
It's a viable, 100% a viable strategy. And as spoiler alert, I picked one of the Nightmare players as well. As we go into my roster here, got Dokla, and then this is where things. I think I've kind of picked like a bit of a hodgepodge here of like really high level top NACL players, and then I got Jensen just for the hell of it. I could have picked Bradley here and then picked somebody else from my younger team, but this guy's still a free agent. Having him go up against Doublelift and Pobelter and all those guys, I feel like this would be a pretty fun
Jensen against
opportunity for
Pobelter
him.
would feed families. I've
Yeah.
said that for like the third time this episode now, but yeah.
And
We're eating good.
Yeah, we are. There's a lot of families that have to be fed with all the audience that this team's gonna be.
That this is going to draw, yeah.
Yeah, we got two players that were just in the LCS last split. Another player in Instinct that was in the LCS relatively recently. Same with Diamond, and then Yukino I think is one of the higher level junglers that we have in the NACL and kind of more of a younger prospect. So I like this team. I do think that you guys. I think that it would be tough. This is a tough matchup between my team and your team at the very least, if not against the Doublelift team.
I mean, both these teams would be massive threats to run into in the qualifiers. I need to point out, why is Dokla, Big Dokes, is just larger than everyone else on your slide, and I kind of love it.
Sorry, I don't know. I just
No,
didn't.
He's
didn't
Big
the right way.
Doken right now, dude. That's fantastic. No, I think both these teams would be massive threats. Okay, here's the question, Grapes. Do you think either of these teams is better than Nightmare if they stayed together?
You're asking if Yusin and Young are an upgrade over Dokla Bradley.
Or if you think Yukino, Jensen, Instinct, and Diamond are upgrades over the rest of the team?
Well, yeah, that's just the whole question except Dokla.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, that's tough. Part of me wants to say that Nightmare will be better than both of these teams. However, I think we're maybe looking at it through like kind of rose-tinted glasses because this was a roster that actually was going to exist. And the fact that we never actually did see them play. I think having like Jensen on my team could definitely elevate this, especially in the OQ. I mean, this team, if they were in the NACL, I think would be in that like top tier. I think you could say the same for both of our teams.
Dare I say, I think your bot lane is definitely a little bit worse, I think, than Meech and Breezy. I mean, Diamond's still pretty good, but I think Instinct's a little bit worse than Meech. Yukino is probably a little bit worse than Kenvi, but like not guaranteed. I do think Jensen is an upgrade over Bradley. And then obviously you have Dokla. I think for my team, it really depends on like how well do Yusin and Young play with the team as opposed to like what this hypothetical Dokla and Bradley do. I mean, also this is assuming that Yusin is even on the same level as Dokla, which is a pretty big assumption. I mean, we've seen this man clap Denethor, but that's not quite the same as like Fudge. So, yeah.
I think that if these guys ended up running, I think first of all, the first thing that we should mention is that if Nightmare play in this is gonna be awesome to watch them play against this Doublelift team. But there are other really, really strong free agents that are still out there as well. That if they end up forming these super teams, there's still opportunities, guys, to make teams that could qualify into the NACL. Like, you might think like, oh, like the hype is gone, like the signups are coming up soon. Like, you still have like a week. So if any of these rosters, if you are watching this and you're on one of these rosters and you feel inspired for some reason to call up the boys and get a team going, like, I think it would be a lot of fun to watch.
There has never been a better time to just like fuck it, we ball with a team, dude. Especially because again, like if you bomb out, you bomb out, man. You're never gonna have a better chance than this, though. You may as well put your money where your mouth is. Start playing some games. You're gonna get this qualifier. I think we can say, especially if like I was saying, the Dante's team now missing a top laner. If they can get a real top laner, there's like 7 or 8 teams I think in the mix based on rumors for these 3 spots. Become one of them. Start playing against these guys. Get good practice. Like, this has the potential to be a really big deal now that the Doublelift team is here. I'm kind of wondering if the Doublelift team does inspire some ex-pros to come in and play some games, man. Because at the end of the day, like, you might not even make it to the NACL, and that's okay. But this is an excuse to play the highest level league you might have had the opportunity to in a little bit. And I think
and make some content too. Grow your viewership. I mean, this is
exactly
for you as well.
I think this is an incredible opportunity for all kinds of people to just have a great few weekends of games. But that's gonna do it for us here. Grapes, anything else to add before I send the people on their way?
Yeah, I mean, we have still a little bit of time until that open qualifier. If you are one of those rosters and you do announce in the next week, we will talk about it on this show, no doubt about it. I feel like we're gonna be a little bit more CLOL oriented these next couple of weeks, though, as we're getting some really, really spicy matchups here, especially in the regional conferences. If you want to learn more, patreon.com/Salty Runback NA. New episode of CLOL Office Hours will be dropping there. We'll be talking about all of the big matchups that are on the way. And yeah, LTA. Watch LTA North or LTA North against South. I know that there's gonna be some big ones over there. Do you think your South guys have any shot?
Ooh, probably not, to be honest with you. I mean, we said that for America's Challengers too, but I think the 4 teams that we've sent to Brazil are actually I think they're quite strong. So
Yeah.
I'm a little worried. I mean, maybe they can take some games. It's also hard because I don't really know anything about the LATAM guys, to be honest. So I don't want to comment too much there, but it's gonna be exciting to watch LTA playoffs. Like Grape said, OQ's coming up. Start of March, literally March 1st is when it begins. Make sure you sign up. Make sure you follow us at Salty Runback NA for all the coverage. Join our Discord and let us know in the comments which of the rosters we created you like the best. And join our Discord just to talk about random shit. It's actually been popping off over the last weekend or so. Grapes, we have a real Discord now, and I'm so excited about it.
Awesome.
So come be a part of the conversation. Come play some games with us. Maybe some watch parties, just kind of whenever Grapes and I are available. Grapes, we should put together a game night sometime soon. I know we've talked about doing that too. But at Salty Runback NA everywhere, at Hawkcast, at Speedy Grapes. If you think that the Doublelift team is not washed in any position, you can take what we said with a grain of salt. I've been Hawk. That's been Grapes. It's almost OQ season, baby. Have a great night.